Greetings, YouTube. My Cindy of London shirt really does kind of blow the white balance a bit, doesn't it? That and I'm really pale. Today I'm going to be linking to an article that deals with the sharing economy and serial killers. An interesting combination. And if you listen to the mainstream media as your sole source of information on crime, you would well be under the understanding that we live in dangerous times, particularly if you listen to such sensational things as broadcast on Fox News. They will barrage you with a constant stream of how incredibly dangerous the world is, and how much danger not only are you in, but your family, and your home, and your pet, and your children. In fact, if you were to listen to nothing but that information coming into your brain, you may well think that behind every bush and tree in the world today, there is a rapist, or a serial killer, or a kidnapper, or a terrorist. You're just waiting there. And as soon as you blink an eye, like the weeping angels, they will leap out at you and rend the flesh from your bones. Now, this has been a bit of hyperbole. We are actually living in some of the safest times in the Western culture that we've ever experienced. Serial killers began to become more prominent in the 60s. They peaked in the 80s, and they have been in steady decline since. Violent crime is down incredibly low. And we have to understand that while there are real-world kidnappings of children and things like that, the number of them is really small. And half of the kids are returned. And yet, every time a real one happens, and they do exist, and I do not downplay this, they are a tragedy, they are so overplayed on the news that it makes us think that they're ever happening every second of every day. And they aren't. And the reality is that people are being more trusting now than ever before. Now, I am not actually all that well inclined to believe the good news because of my own personal issues with anxiety and depression. So for me to finally come to the point where I realize, hey, you know something? Things aren't as bad as the mainstream media actually will tell you they are, maybe means that things aren't as bad as the mainstream media tells you they are. And that you and I are actually significantly more safe than we imagined. Now, there's no reason not to still be aware of the world around you, and I recommend you reading the book The Gift of Fear. But we have some very strange ideas of fear assessment in the Western world. I know a gentleman who brushes his teeth and flosses them every day at work, which speaks well of him. That's good. I don't even do that. I brush my teeth every day. I floss my teeth every day. I use one of those little electric toothbrushes, and it's quite used. Great for the gums. And yet, he doesn't wear a seatbelt. Nope. He was even in an accident recently, like last year. The airbag deployed. Still doesn't wear a seatbelt. That's poor risk assessment. And Western world is really good at poor risk assessment. The reality, though, is we are not as in much danger as the media would have you believe. But there's a reason they want you afraid. Because if your eyes are glued to that screen right there, you are going to watch the commercials. And that's what they want. If you are also informed in some manner or entertained in some manner, okay, that's a nice side effect. But as long as your eyeballs are right there, and all their advertisers get to beam everything they want into your head, well, excellent. But the reality is different than what they're showing you. So maybe we all need to ratchet the anxiety levels down a little bit, breathe a little more, and accept that the world isn't quite as dangerous as we would like it to believe. Because you remember the video I did the other day about whether you're relieved or distressed? Or sorry, you're relieved or disappointed? It has to do with that. This is kind of a corollary to that, in fact. It's almost like a plan. So we should be relieved. We should not be discouraged or depressed. We should be happy that the world is safer than we think. And as the people of the world that are fighting the good fight, we are expanding the civil liberties of our fellow man as much as we can. And we are creating a better, healthier, happier world and future for our children. It's not over. It's a long fight. And there are those that oppose us. But we can do this. One of the things we need to do is relax a little and realize that it's not as dangerous as people might tell you.